The Chiefs lost big to the Bills on Sunday. It's already their third loss this season as they sit at the bottom of the AFC West. Earlier this week, Stephen A., you had a big take on the team that has gone to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. Take a listen, y'all.
The Kansas City Chiefs are done. Let me say it right now.
Whoa,
okay?
whoa.
You're saying they're done.
Week 5 isn't even complete.
They're going to the postseason, sure, because of that dude, Patrick Mahomes. Their defense is trash. They can't stop a cold. Let's just call it what it is, okay? They're awful. They're the worst defense in the league in points allowed, second worst in yards allowed, second worst against the run. Don't get me started with what they are against the pass. They are an atrocity.
Marcus, I've really been trying to work with Stephen A. to tell us how he really feels. So I think
I'm working on it.
He's working on it there. My goodness.
I know we done had some heavy topics today, but you done lost your damn mind. You done lost your mind. How in the world? I'm talking to you, Stephen A. How in the world are you going to say the Chiefs done after 5 weeks into the season? And I get it about the defense. I understand what you say. Stephen A., you have no reason to believe the Chiefs are done outside of the fact that you holding them to the same standard that you held them to the past previous years. And we all know this season is going to take form later. What does he say all the time, Molly? Just wait. Yeah. What does he say about the Cowboys? What does he say,
He's such a patient man.
Just wait.
Can I respond?
Just wait. It will come.
Marcus is talking.
No, I'm talking right now because you made the outlandish statement about the Chiefs being done. They're 2-3. They've been competitive. By the way, they played the hardest schedule in the NFL, by the way. That too. So at some point, when you get going throughout this season, and what I'm betting on is that Andy Reid has done this long enough, is that he's going to identify the things that he needs to do for his football team with the best quarterback in the NFL, and they are going to get it fixed. You disappoint me. You disappoint me with that take. There's a lot of things we can argue about, but you disappoint me with that.
I must confess, I don't care that I disappointed you with this take, Marcus Spears. And let me tell you why I don't care. Because here's the deal. My standard is them as the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. I'm sorry, the reigning defending AFC champions. Yeah. 2-time reigning AFC champions. Yeah. And so I'm looking at Buffalo, I'm looking at Chargers, I'm looking at Baltimore, I'm looking at the teams, the road that you have to travel to that level of prosperity, and I don't see that happening because I think the defense is trash. I think Kansas City's defense is awful. And I don't see them getting much better as the season goes on. That's where I'm coming from. Patrick Mahomes and that offense will carry you to the postseason. But I think ultimately you're going to go up against better teams and better quarterbacks. You got to be able to stop somebody, and they can't. That's why I'm saying they're done, meaning they ain't going back
to the NFL. The Cowboys are humming 4-1. They've now beat the Chargers and the best defense in the NFL, the Panthers. Their only loss to the Bucs, and it was close. Amari Cooper and his squad have SoFi dreams in February. Amari's saying this: when you're on a roll like this, you start thinking about the Super Bowl. That's just the reality of it. You just start to want it more and more the closer you get, and you start to worry about the little things more. Mark Scott joining the conversation. Swagoo, I want to start with you because obviously you are the former Cowboy on the show. Tell me this, sir. Should the Cowboys be thinking Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Oh, please.
Wow. Listen, and look, I understand this. I watched Bart last week say the Giants was going to beat the Cowboys, and he knew that was foolishness, and he understood what he was saying. But the bottom line is this.
Don't go there. That was the second team for the Giants. Didn't have their quarterback, so just relax with that.
Nobody on that damn defense got injured.
Spears.
Let me hold on
1 second. I just want to say this to Molly. Molly,
what?
You know we love you. You know that. You know how near and dear you are to us.
What?
We love
Where are we going?
Molly
This is a setup.
We love you a lot,
this
Molly
is a
Q.
Setup.
We really do.
What?
But when you stand up for your team and get emotional about that, it forces us to think about UConn. Could you just let him go on?
Stop.
Go ahead.
Marcus, you know what it is. I don't just want to act. Don't act like that's just this big, great win.
Don't do that.
Because no one was out there. The quarterback wasn't out there. The running back, the receivers.
Molly, stop.
Okay, carry on.
Don't do it to yourself. Stop.
Well, if we gonna do that, Lyle Collins was out and DeMarcus Lawrence was out two of the better players for the Dallas Cowboys if we want to do that. But I don't want to do
Dak
that.
was there.
The question is, should the Cowboys be thinking about a Super Bowl? Absolutely. Why wouldn't they be? They 4-1. They playing well. They rated in the top on offense. They have defensive efficiency in the top 10. Like, I'm not completely sold on the Dallas Cowboys defense, but they turning the football over and they making timely plays, like the Kansas City Chiefs did when they were on their Super Bowl run. They wasn't just stopping people all over the field. But when you look at them from an offensive standpoint, the way Dak is operating, they are running the football again. In the past years, we thought they were a Super Bowl team because they were having success on the ground. Y'all remember those days when we were talking about Zeke Elliott as a top 3 running back in the NFL? Why was that? Because the offensive line was good and moving people, and they were having success offensively. That's what we talked about. So we're going to sit here today and act like reality is not that the Cowboys are 4-1. And act like the reality is they didn't go to Tampa week 1 and go toe-to-toe. We're going to act like they didn't beat the Chargers, who I'm sure Bart has ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. But ultimately, when you have a conversation about should the Cowboys be thinking of a Super Bowl, why wouldn't they be along with the other 4-1 teams and the undefeated team in Arizona and the teams with players that they feel like they can win a Super Bowl with? I want to hear this. My response is gold. I want to hear the foolishness that's about to come out of these other two dudes' mouth.
All right, first of all, I agree with you. Like, okay, they beat the Giants, but they didn't beat a full Giants. That was a real game. And usually that's a trap game that the Dallas Cowboys find a way to lose. Okay, congratulations, they took a step. They have 2 running backs, which is what you need in the playoffs. You need to pack your running game and pack an opportunistic defense. They have that. But the problem is, man, they're celebrating and pumping their chest out. And this is just September going into October, man. This is going maybe to November. This is only 5 games. Listen, they have to understand that this is a battle of attrition. They have to stay healthy. And Amari Cooper shouldn't be vocalizing this. This is something that these are discussions that they should be having amongst themselves. When you put that out there.
What should he say, Bart? What should he say?
He should say, we're trying to win our division. That's the first step because they're getting ahead of their skis, and we've seen them do this before. And listen, I've been part of teams where Rex Ryan comes out and says, hey, we're going to win the Super Bowl, and it puts a target on your back. Listen, let sleeping bears lie. Right? And listen, they should be happy where they are, but they should understand that, listen, it's a long season. A lot can happen. And Amari Cooper should be the last one saying it because he's the one that really can't stay healthy. So it's important that they stay healthy. They have a great team. I understand that. But I'm still not picking them to win the Super Bowl. Listen, they need to take baby steps, right? This is a team that needs to learn how to continue to get better and a team that needs to continue to take strides forward because the teams that they're playing and the teams that they're going to be playing in the future aren't playoff caliber teams.
First of all, a couple of things. I have to mind my manners, Marcus, with Molly Q, as you call her, because Mr. Good Morning America himself, you know, the sack master, the one and only Michael Strahan is.
Yes.
You leave alone. Michael Strahan.
Michael knows what it is.
Leave Molly alone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get sacked. I don't want to get sacked.
I speak facts.
I don't want to get sacked. Okay, I don't want to get sacked. Lord knows I don't want to get sacked by that brother.
Out there, not Mike Glennon.
All right, Michael Strahan, I stand down. Miss Yukon, I would suggest you watch it, Miss Yukon.
Or Miss Loyalty.
Let me say something.
Not bandwagon.
Let me say something really, really quick.
Yes.
Because I hear Molly and Bart talking about this. Where was this same grace last year when Dallas' whole team was injured? Right. I didn't hear y'all saying that.
Well, let me
what y'all saying about the Giants right now? I didn't hear y'all say this last year about the Cowboys.
Don't interrupt.
I'm sorry.
With another sermon, okay? Here's the deal, y'all. I just want to say this to you, Pastor Spears. I want to say this to you. Congratulations, Boss Scott. Let's stand up and give Marcus Spears a round of applause, okay? Why? Because you beat Jalen Hurts, okay? All right, I got that. You beat Jalen Hurts. And then after that, you beat Sam Darnold without Christian McCaffrey, okay? And then last week, you just finished playing against the Giants' second team. I mean, my God, I got to say, where's my blue and white pom-poms? You understand? Where are they, okay? Give me a break. There's still 25.
No. You just said what you said. You just said what you said. You just said what you said. I better not see these damn Chargers in that top 5 then.
Excuse me.
I better not see them.
Don't tell me what
you failed to mention them. You failed to mention that win.
That was the first 2. That's the first 2 games of the season. But don't worry about it. Let me get to my point. Let me get to my point. Okay.
Go ahead.
You're 25th in yards allowed. You're second worst against the pass in the National Football League. All right. So what I'm trying to say is that you give a little, give a little. Why are we raving about the Cowboys? I'll tell you why we're raving about the Cowboys. There's nothing to talk about with their offense. It's something special.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott's averaging over 5 yards a carry. He looks resurrected, particularly since I called him out because Pollard was looking like a better running back than him. Pollard still averages 6 yards a carry. This is the secondary piece, all right? So it's that, all right? We know what Cooper, obviously, and CeeDee Lamb can do. Wilson and Schultz have been contributing as well. Gallup ain't even been in a lineup. Wait until he gets back. So that's just a multitude of weapons that they have available with Dak playing lights out. Offensively, there's nothing to complain about. Nothing to say, no shade to throw on the Dallas Cowboys. Defensively, you know what this really is? Of course, we like Micah Parsons. Trevon Diggs is my defensive player of the year thus far. He's been sensational. But you know why we're really raving about the Dallas Cowboys defense, Marcus Spears? Because they stunk last year. They were so god-awful because they got Mike Nolan out of the scrap heap. Last time we saw him, he was a defensive coordinator for one of the worst defenses in the league in Atlanta in 2014. Nobody's thinking about hiring this man as their defensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy gets the job in Dallas and says, you know what? He's learned from his mistakes. He's learned from looking archaic when he was in Green Bay. And what's the first thing he does? He hires that guy, okay? So he lucked up. Because with COVID last year and all the restrictions with the NFL and all the different circumstances and what have you, we said, all right, we're going to let that go. They got rid of Nolan. They brought in Quinn from Atlanta, the former head coach of the Falcons. He sort of resurrected that defense. He's got them looking relatively decent. That's what this is about. It's about the fact that people are getting caught up in thinking this defense is legit. This defense is real. When it's been damn near a month since they went against a real established, bona fide, experienced veteran of a quarterback. And wait till that happens as the season progresses. They got a reprieve. Their schedule is relatively soft the rest of the way for the next 6-7 weeks. But then after that, stuff is going to heat up, and we're going to find out what they're made of. So you can talk all of that junk you want, Pastor Spears, with your sermons. At the end of the day, all of these expectations that have been thrown in, you know where I'm going.
The Cowboys.
You're setting them up. You're setting them up. They're going to fall so
it's
hard.
Levels, Marcus. You know it's levels.
And Marcus, I will remind everybody else, you FaceTime me. Let me tell you, Bart Scott, what Marcus Spears did. So they're going against Tampa Bay opening night, Thursday night football, right, to open the season. Do you know this fool, Marcus Spears, actually FaceTimed me with 1:24 left and Tom Brady was still getting the ball? Do you realize Marcus Spears?
We've seen that movie before.
He was so anxious, he couldn't even wait the minute and 24 to expire. He FaceTimed me before. And what did he end up doing the next day? See what I'm saying? They set themselves up all the time.
And you ain't
even a blind squirrel finds a nut, Marcus.
That's
you understand that?
You FaceTime me a lot.
Levels to this. It's levels to this.
You FaceTime me a lot last year. I ain't got FaceTime yet again.
Eventually, Marcus, they're going to have to play the varsity. And you want to talk about the Chargers game. The Chargers were screwed in that game with that referee saying that was a sack. We know that Justin Herbert. And once again,
like
Justin
a fan right now.
No,
you don't sound like an analyst. You sound like a fan.
I sound like a dude.
You sound like a fan.
I sound like a dude that went to 3 AFC championships.
Are you not watching this season? Are we talking about this season, or are we talking about your premise about the Dallas Cowboys? Or are we talking about this season?
Hold on, Marcus, you just accused Bart Scott of being a fan?
Yeah, he sounded like a fan.
Did you just?
He sounded like a fan.
You of all people,
you as well.
The way you talk about the Cowboys, you got the nerve to call somebody else a fan. What hypocrisy!
Let's have a credibility check. Let's have a credibility check.
Okay,
first of all, the credibility check comes from before the season started. I said the Cowboys were going to win the division. I said that before the season started. I said the Los Angeles Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to play each other in the Super Bowl. Let's have a credibility check. Now, the Cowboys sitting here at 4-1 after 5 weeks of the season, and the question is, should the Cowboys be thinking Super Bowl based on what we've watched transpire up until this point in the NFL season? Why wouldn't they be thinking about that?
And we talk because hold it, they got the nerve to be thinking about it. They should be thinking about playoff. How about winning a playoff game? That's what they should be thinking about. I mean, you got to crawl before you walk.
What the other
They ain't even
teams supposed to
crawl
think
yet.
about?
What
the other teams supposed to think about?
The other teams haven't been in F for a quarter century the way the Cowboys have. They have.
And if you check, if you want to do a credibility check, you can check what I said about the people in the beginning. I said Matthew Stafford would probably be the MVP. I said the Rams would be in the Super Bowl. So I got credibility on this set too, Bo.
And I also picked the Cowboys to win the East.
All right, all right.
To that point, Bart, do things not change?
A lot of egos happening right now.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, listen, Molly, let's do this. Let's just ignore
what they want.
Let's just ignore that the Dallas Cowboys are a good team and they in the thick of things with all the other good teams in the NFL. And one team gonna win the Super Bowl, and 30 others gonna be looking at the game, whoever that may be.
Absolutely.
And on this show,
but we're all. Why is everyone so aggressive today?
On this show, Molly, he don't get to have the last word. This ain't NFL.
Well, you say what you need to say.
I do.
And here's the last word. We'll see what happens.
Roll the bomb. I get the last word. Still to go. After falling to the Chargers by 5 on Sunday and losing to the Chiefs week 1 by 3 points, Cleveland is currently 3rd in the AFC North. Baker Mayfield, 22 of 32 for 305 yards and 2 TDs against LA Sunday. Here's Stephen A. on Baker earlier this week.
It's real. You ain't talking about you ain't winning no title with no Baker Mayfield. It's too many roadblocks. You look at the Cleveland Browns, it's because of Myles Garrett and that crew on defense, and because of what they got going on in the backfield that makes you say they're going to be just fine. When you think about the Cleveland Browns, you think about everything but the quarterback. Anytime that's the case, it ain't going to give you a Super Bowl, bro.
Well, this happened on the gram. Baker highlighting SA's quotes. You can see right there. Here's the real. You ain't winning no title with Baker Mayfield as your quarterback. So Baker clearly taking notice of that. Stephen A., I'll pick it up with you. Can the Browns win the title with Baker Mayfield? Do you stand by what you said?
Yes. I didn't stutter. I reminded the world last night. I still feel that way. Listen, let me be very, very clear because I want to make sure everybody understands something. I lamented Baker Mayfield when he had more progressive commercials than wins. That's no longer the case.
Yep.
This brother has accepted that leadership role. He is not a scrub. I admire and respect him and how far he's gotten in his life and his career, considering some of the troubles that he had when he was younger. This dude is something special, and I get all of that. What I'm trying to say, Marcus, is that so much time we spend on focusing on the individual, and we don't spend enough time focusing on the level of competition they're going up against. Did you see the show that Lamar Jackson put on Monday night? Did you see the show that Josh Allen put on Sunday night? Did you see the show that Justin Herbert put on Sunday afternoon? Do you know anything about Patrick Mahomes? I'm giving you 4. I didn't mention Tennessee and how they've come on as of late. Talk about 5 different teams you're going to have to contend with. And I'm saying, when you look at Cleveland as a team, I love their GM, a brother, by the way. It's beautiful to see that. Mr. Berry being in that position, an African-American being able to run a franchise. Very proud of what he has done. Kevin Stefanski, the son of a dear friend of mine, Ed Stefanski, who I've known for many, many years, a wonderful human being. And Kevin Stefanski, I think, is a wonderful coach doing a hell of a job. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt can run that football. That's why they got one of the top 2 rushing attacks in football. Let's be clear about that. Their defense led by Myles Garrett and those boys. Number 2 against the rush. I get all of that. My issue is when it comes time, if you find yourself in a situation where your quarterback has to deliver the goods, I see at least 4 options that I would pick in the AFC alone ahead of Baker Mayfield. And these are individuals he, in all likelihood, will have to encounter to get the Browns to a Super Bowl. And that's where I have my question mark. He is the question mark for the Cleveland Browns. Not because he's a scrub, because he's not. Not because he can't play, because he can. It's because of them standing in his way. That's where I stand.
Marcus, where are you on this?
I think he can win a title, and two things can be true. I understand what Stephen A. is saying about that, and it's something that I've said. At some point, he's going to have to stare down the quarterback on the other side and outperform him in the last-minute drive. And right now, Baker in this season is 0-2. But the question is, can the Browns win a title with Baker Mayfield? Yes, they absolutely can. Now, it's going to take some things from the guys around him and him being insulated a little bit, and he's going to have to make a few plays. But when I watched that Charger game, I watched the defense give up 47 points. And I get it. I get it that Baker had 1:05 left, and I think I absolutely believe that in those moments, he needs to deliver. Last year, when Lamar came back from using the restroom or his cramps, Baker had actually led a game-winning TD drive, and the defense gave up what they gave up to Lamar Jackson. So as much as I will say that Baker Mayfield is going to have to stare down the quarterbacks that you mentioned, Stephen A., because you're absolutely right. It may come down to that particular situation, ball in his hand, in the game, got to make a play, got to get the ball downfield. I've seen him do it and answer last year. This year, 0-2. But to say they can't win a title, I lean on the things that you talked about, Stephen A. One, Kevin Stefanski got to throw the ball on 3rd and 9, right? And that may be an indictment on Baker Mayfield. But ultimately, if this is your guy, you got to throw the ball to try to not get the ball back to the Chargers. And second of all, when I think about Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb and this offensive line and the way that they're constructed offensively, this team can be devastating in a playoff run and allow Baker not to have to be the focal point based on what they want to do as a whole. So, yeah, I believe they can win a title with Baker Mayfield. But it's more about him costing them as opposed to him having to step to the forefront and be the main reason.
Okay, I want to focus in on something else. That would be Odell Beckham Jr. And I'll start with you, Stephen A. He has 9 catches on the season, no TDs. Obviously, he wasn't there the first few games. Does Odell need to be traded? Is this just not the right fit for him?
I don't think that the Browns need to trade Odell Beckham Jr. I think Odell Beckham Jr. needs to beg to be traded.
Why?
It's not a good situation for him as an individual. It's great for the team to have him because when healthy, he's an ultimate weapon. He elevates your vertical game. He opens things up for other dudes in Njoku and those boys that are going to be around, particularly if and when Jarvis Landry comes back. But the bottom line is this. That's the question mark as it pertains to Odell Beckham Jr. The Cleveland Browns don't need to move him, but Odell Beckham Jr., I'm not going to lie, I think he needs a better quarterback. And what I mean by a better quarterback, I'm talking about somebody who can really stretch that vertical game. Baker Mayfield can make throws, but he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. Odell Beckham Jr. needs to be with somebody like Justin Herbert. He needs to be with somebody, and I'm not talking about just talent. Please don't get me wrong, because I'll mention Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Herbert, the Dak Prescotts, the Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking quarterbacks with arms, Marcus. That's what I'm talking about, where it's nothing for you to fling that football deep all the time. That's why Deshaun Jackson in L.A. is such a big deal, because you got Matthew Stafford that can throw the ball deep. This is what Odell Beckham Jr., this is the kind of situation he needs to be in. You don't want Odell Beckham Jr., who's got some fragility issues because he's been hurt in the past. You don't want him, Marcus, slant patterns going over the middle all the time. He's just not built for that. You see what I'm saying? He can do it, but he ain't built for it. You need him to stretch that vertical game, and you need him with a quarterback who can do it. That's not Baker Mayfield. That doesn't mean he's not a gifted quarterback. That's just not who he is. And they know it, and that's not going to facilitate any kind of success for Odell Beckham Jr. That's why I think he needs to beg to be taken out of Cleveland for his own career salvation.
Stephen A., you're right in this regard. Now, I got to say, Baker
I think your mic fell. You got me.
You got me.
All right,
I
got you now. Go ahead.
Let me clarify that. Baker has an arm, but the guys you compared him to, it's not the same. So I understand where you're coming from. He has a strong enough arm. He can push the ball down the field. That's not the issue. And I don't think they should trade Odell Beckham Jr. because what we talked about earlier, when they get to that point in these games that they plan on being on, being in, trying to contend for a Super Bowl, he's going to have to be a vital part to what they're trying to do. And remember, Jarvis Landry is out as well. And Njoku came up big last game. The tight end, Baker found him over the middle. But here's the deal with this particular situation. And I went back and forth on this because I know we're supposed to fight, but I went back and forth on this. OBJ is a feature wide receiver. And I think that's what you're saying, S.A. But I think in this day and age in the NFL, you got to have more than one. You got to have guys that can absolutely get downfield. And we got to get out of our mind the Odell Beckham Jr. from the New York Giants, making all of these plays. Not saying that he can't make them. He's not in that system anymore. He's not being asked to do what he's been doing, what he's done early in his career. So the bottom line is this. The Browns should not trade Odell Beckham Jr. because I really believe they're going to need him if they're going to try to go to a Super Bowl. It's about finding his place on a team that's run-centric and offensive line driven.
Tough one this weekend. Cardinals at Browns. Browns are favored by 3, and the Cardinals might be without Chandler Jones, so Baker might not have to deal with that. He's on the COVID list, but there's still a chance he could be good to go with 2 negative tests. All right, guys, still to come on First Take. Everyone knows Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent, except our guy, Bart Scott. Trust me, can't wait to hear Bart's take on Mahomes. Plus, Patrick Mahomes lost the NFL's quarterback crown. Plus, more on Kyrie Irving and how the NFL should handle the rest of those emails with John Gruden. And, of course, the return of Steven's A-list. Remember, folks, it's fluid.
It's fluid.
Let's go.
Fluid.
Patrick Mahomes has not been the Mahomes we're used to. After committing 3 turnovers Sunday, he now has 7 on the season, with 6 being interceptions. He threw 6 total interceptions in all of last season. Here's Mahomes on his struggles.
It starts with me. I mean, it's something that I've not usually done in my career, but I have to reevaluate where I'm at, what decisions I'm making. I've been kind of a crazier player as far as scrambling and making throws, but in my career, I've never been someone to throw a lot of interceptions. And so I kind of have to look at it now and go back and reevaluate what I'm doing and I have to cut it out.
Don't need to reevaluate the change, though. I rock with those. Bart, is Mahomes still the best quarterback in the NFL?
No, I don't think so. And I think last year Aaron Rodgers was a better quarterback. I mean, listen, he's a Hall of Famer, but, the pound for pound list is fluid. It doesn't always stay the same. That's leased. It's not owned. And I think a lot of times, Mahomes comes in, he inherited a tremendous team that was in their window, and he has tremendous talent around him. And, in the league, it's about marriages, right? It's about who you go to, who's your coach, who's your coordinator. And he got the best, offense coordinator, best head coach. And you look at Josh Allen. You think about his relationship with Brian Daboll and building around him and going to get Stephon Diggs. But I think for my money right now, the best show and the best quarterback in the league is Lamar Jackson. Because I say this, Lamar Jackson is more responsible for the productivity than any one of these other quarterbacks. Not only is he their best running back, he's also the best thrower of the ball. And you can look at the skill positions and say Hollywood Brown would not start on any other of these other units that we consider. He wouldn't start for the Bills. He wouldn't start for Kansas City. He wouldn't start for Aaron Rodgers. So what Lamar Jackson is forced to do is more than what anybody else is asked to do. And he proved on Monday night that he is the best show in town. I know everybody was saying Kyler Murray was potentially that, but he's doing less. He's doing more with less than any other one of these quarterbacks that we consider pound for pound. And listen, the same thing make you laugh, make you cry. Right, tip balls change games, and I always say Patrick Mahomes is the worst thing to happen to the NFL because he's been getting away with a lot of deadly sins for years, throwing no-look passes, throwing off platform, and now those things are coming back to roost. And when you look at it, I think it's Lamar Jackson. Then I'll go with Josh Allen, number 2.
Hold on, before you chime in, Marcus, I just want to say, Marcus Spears, I mean, I know they bigger, they stronger, but I'm older, damn it, so that makes me the senior. I'm the mentor, And Molly, I just want to say it's a touching moment when Bart Scott talked about fluid. Yeah. You see, it just shows they're listening. They're listening.
I'm setting a statute of limitations on that. It's too much. We use that word too much.
I mean, it's just touching to see, him gravitate towards it. I mean, I just love it, the tutelage that they're accepting. It's just very touching right now. Now, let me say this. I get where Bart is coming from.
Okay.
Here's what I would say to you, Bart. Lamar Jackson looks better. Justin Herbert, one could say, could look a little better. Looks a little better. Josh Allen looks better. Dak Prescott thus far looks better. But when we talk about the best quarterback in the NFL, you know, we can't sit up there and take that from Patrick Mahomes based on the first few weeks. I mean, the brother is the two-time reigning defending AFC champion with a Super Bowl on his resume and 2 Super Bowl appearances back-to-back on his resume. Has never completed less than 65% of his passes as a starter. Is completing 69% of his passes right now. And oh, by the way, struggling this year, 69% completion, 16 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. 6 interceptions is the total he threw last year, so I get the concern. But here's the thing. We also have to take into account the fact that he's taking chances because he has to. Because the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs is straight garbage. Period. Now, that does not mean to the Honey Badger and Snead and Sorensen. It doesn't mean it's going to stay that way.
Chris Jones,
and I respect that. But I want Kansas City, if you're watching right now, because you know, I go back years with my brother Andy Reid. Okay? I covered them in Philadelphia. All right, I understand. I got a few friends on that squad. Your defense is trash. Somebody needs to tell y'all are horrible. You are a walking abomination.
Wow.
You got your butts kicked in the Super Bowl, and you're walking around like you never recovered. The offense has recovered. The offense has said, yo, we ain't going away, okay? We modified some things or whatever. We'll be back full swing. We lost Sammy Watkins in Baltimore now, but we'll be back in full swing. The defense has said, you know something? Damn it, we gonna be offensive. That's what we are. We're so bad, we offensive. You got Spagnuolo, who's the defensive coordinator for the Super Bowl champion New York Giants. You got a credible resume, and you are the steward of the worst defense in the National Football League. You can't stop a cold. You can't stop a cold. That's the problem. So Patrick Mahomes has said, I got to try to make up for it because we can't stop no damn body, Marcus. He just ain't going to tell us, I got a defense, y'all, and it can't stop no damn body. So I got to take chances. That's what that's about, Bart. And that's why I'm not sitting here and stripping him of that title just yet. Marcus, the floor is yours.
Yeah, listen, we comparing Patrick Mahomes to the things that he's already done. I'm with you, Stephen. He's still the best quarterback in the NFL to me. Right now, no, Lamar Jackson is playing better than anybody, but Lamar Jackson has had to do this for his career almost outside of having a run game. He's had to be the catalyst for everything that's transpired in Baltimore. So this isn't unfamiliar, but the reason why Lamar Jackson is looked upon as the guy, and I've always thought he was a really good quarterback, is because of the diminishment of his team, the 16 people on IR, what he's missing and the fact that he's playing like he's playing. Listen, man, let's be honest about Patrick Mahomes, right? You got 6 interceptions in at this point of the season, which should be 4. We just showed the Tyreek Hill pass. We showed the pass he threw over. We didn't show the pass he threw over the top. It was a bad throw. I get it. Hit the receiver's hands, bounced off. Asante Samuel Jr. intercepted the football. So that would be 4. And in the context of football, but 4 and 6 are huge numbers when you talk about turnovers. When you think about Patrick Mahomes and you think about where the Chiefs are as a team, the reason why we having this discussion and asking this question is because of exactly what you just said, Stephen A. Because the defense is bad and they haven't run the football successfully. These teams are literally sitting back with 7 and 8 people in coverage and saying, Mahomes, listen, man, we know the only shot we got at winning this game is that we don't allow you to be who you are. And you know why teams are doing that? Because all of those other defensive coordinators that's showing up to those stadiums know that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. And this is the way we have to play him. So until I put this on Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, as much as I want Eric Bieniemy to get a head coaching job, I put this on them because you have to run the football based on the way that people are playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's putting your quarterback in a terrible situation when your defense giving up points, you asking him to be explosive, and teams are dropping 8 people in the box to make sure he can't throw the ball, and there's nowhere to go with it.
But he's not the first superstar Hall of Famer that ever had to deal with this. Tom Brady had to deal with this as well. We always said when we played Tom Brady, if he's handing it off, he's not throwing the football. And listen, when you get paid that much money and you're the franchise player, that's what you have to overcome. For years, Aaron Rodgers, the baddest man on the planet, according to Stephen A., had to deal with the same thing. So this is the adjustment to the adjustment. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers put the blueprint out there, how to slow this offense down, how to try and play Patrick Mahomes, and he has to adjust. But if he's a generational talent, if he's a Hall of Famer first ballot, then he's got to overcome those things. Peyton Manning never really had a running game. Listen, I always do this exercise when you talk about who's better. If you have to ask yourself, if you put these quarterbacks on the Kansas City Chiefs, are they the same or better? If you put Lamar Jackson on his team, are they the same or better?
Hey, Bart,
yeah, go ahead.
I was with you until you said Peyton Manning never had a running game.
Edgar James.
I'm talking about post Edgar James, right? I'm talking about post that. I'm talking about when Glenn retired, his great left tackle retired, and he was doing less with more. He was throwing the ball.
But they went back with Joseph Adai. They like Joseph Adai ran the ball well too.
Joseph Adai ain't going to nobody's Hall of Fame.
He's not, boy, but that particular year they ran the football.
Joseph Adai was.
Bart, finish your thought experiment. So you're basically saying what quarterbacks could you interchange?
Right,
on the Chiefs, and it wouldn't make a difference.
I've always said if Deshaun Watson would have got drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs would have been a better football team because of that element that he brings, that Patrick Mahomes is a mobile quarterback, but he's not like Deshaun Watson. He's not like Josh Allen. He's not like Kyler Murray. Like, he's a decent athlete, but he's not a great athlete that can come up for the deficiencies. With the way that they're playing him, you have to hurt teams with your legs, right? When they're playing you man-to-man, doubling everybody, guys like Josh Allen, guys like Lamar Jackson, guys like Kyler Murray can make you pay to get you out of those defenses. So that's why I'm saying when you talk about the best quarterback in the league, it's not owned, it's rented. If you put Aaron Rodgers on that squad right now, I would say that the Chiefs would be a better team. No slight on Patrick Mahomes, but I'm just saying he came into a great situation and he's taking advantage of it.
All right,
but
do this for me, because that's a pretty
league.
strong take. Hold on, before we go to break here, tell me this. So where do you rank Patrick Mahomes, Bart, amongst the top quarterbacks?
Right now he's about fourth. I got him fourth. I got Tom Brady, I got Aaron Rodgers, I got Lamar Jackson, and I got Josh Allen.
Like I said, I have no problem with your position if it's only based, all right, off of these last
first 4 or 5 games. I agree with that.
If you're saying right now, I'm just saying that. But I'm saying overall, you can't possibly have Patrick Mahomes number 4. That you can't do that, Bart.
So you taking him after those guys if they were being drafted to the same situation. You taking Mahomes after all of those guys.
That's because I'm talking about in the future. I'm projecting in the future, too. Listen, Travis Kelce's 32 years old. Eventually, he's going to have to play without one of his best weapons of all time. So I'm projecting. Lamar Jackson's going to get Bateman. Lamar Jackson's the only one without a premier wide receiver. He doesn't have a dig.
Bart, we're not disagreeing with you that Lamar Jackson playing better right now. That's not. We talking about the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes before any of them.
I'm taking Aaron Rodgers.
I got you. I
didn't know. But you said 4. Now you're making sense. Because if you're sitting up there and saying, I'm taking that bad.
That's a legit conversation. That's a legit conversation.
That's a legit conversation.
Legit conversation.
Let's roll. Because you got a list. You got a list coming up. You need to answer some things, all right?
I got some things.
It's the moment you've all been waiting for is next. Steven's A-list top 5 teams in the NFL. Where are those Cowboys slotted? Don't go.
List is fluid.
I know it's fluid. I know all of that.
I'm glad it's fluid.
I think he's confused.
The list is fluid. It's fluid. It's fluid.
Only recency bias, Batman.
Because you done lost your mind.
If it's so fluid, how are we not considering the Bills?
You can come back because the list is fluid.
You know how he gets away with all of it? It's fluid, man. It's fluid.
You're biased, Jeff Saturday. You're biased.
You can do what you need to do. It's your list.
This list is bananas.
It's fluid. It's fluid. Yeah, that's right. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Steven's A-list, okay? Jeff Saturday, Keyshawn Johnson. I usually do this on a Tuesday, but John Gruden's news interrupted all of that. So Marcus Spears and Bart Scott are filling in for y'all this week. Bart Scott, Marcus Spears, lesson number 1. The list is fluid. It's fluid, okay? So let's get to number 5 on the list. Give it to me right here. Bam! The Green Bay Packers. Why? Because He's a bad man. That's why Aaron Rodgers, I know it took him overtime to get rid of the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Cincinnati Bengals are up and coming. I like what Burrow is doing. I love Jamar Chase and the kind of game that he has. Zach Taylor's got them playing competitive football. So taking them to overtime, which when they went to overtime, if Mason Crosby had missed 3 field goals, bottom line is this: they got the job done. Still got Aaron Rodgers, still got Aaron Jones, still got Devontae Adams. Excuse me, the defense is relatively decent. Right? Matt LaFleur seems to be doing some things right. So we'll roll with that. I got them in my top 5. Let's go to number 4, please. Give it to me right now. Shabam! That's the Chargers. Why? Because Justin Herbert is coming. Eckler is balling as your running back. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, do we really need to talk about this? We saw what they did to the Raiders on Monday Night Football. We saw what they did this past weekend, dropping 47 on Cleveland. The Chargers are coming, y'all. The Chargers are coming. Let's give them their love. Let's give them their respect and do what we got to do with this. But they ain't one of the top 3. Here's number 3 on the list. Give it to me. Bam! The Bills. Why? You heard Bart Scott talking about Josh Allen. You know what he brings to the table. Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders elevating their vertical game. Okay, I like what I'm seeing. They got 2 shutouts on the season. Their defense is one of the top rated, and we saw what they did against Kansas City. And Patrick Mahomes went in there and shellacked them. Josh Allen is that dude. 6 years, $258 million as a quarterback, and nobody's sniffing at it. It shows you what that brother's made of. The future is bright in Buffalo. Bills Mafia, stand up, be proud. They ain't top 2. I'm going to give this to them. Give it to me right here. You see who it is. The Dallas Cowboys. Don't question the objectivity, Marcus Spears. Don't question the objectivity. I see Dak. I see CeeDee Lamb. I see Amari Cooper. And by the way, Ezekiel Elliott looks lighter, fleet of foot. The bottom line is he's averaging more than 5 yards a carry. Tony Pollard's averaging more than 6 yards a carry. I got the Dallas Cowboys as one of the top 2 teams in the National Football League. Remember, the list is fluid, so I don't expect them to stay there, damn it, but they deserve to be there right now. They ain't the number 1 team, though. I'm going to tell you who the number 1 team is right here. Give it to me right here. The Arizona Cardinals. Why? How about Kyler Murray completing 75% of his passes on the season? How about you looking at their weapons right now with A.J. Green, with DeAndre Hopkins, okay? You see the brothers and what they're bringing to the table. You got an ultimate dual threat. If it was not for Lamar Jackson, we would be talking about the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray even more, because other than Lamar Jackson, nobody's more of a threat running the football from the quarterback position as him. Plus, they got a defense that can get to the passer. They've got some folks in the secondary. They're opportunistic. They've got athletes. They've got speed on the defensive side of the ball. I like what I see for them. And by the way, they're undefeated. So take all those things into consideration. You see the list. It's the Cardinals. It's the Cowboys. It's the Buffalo Bills. It's the Los Angeles Chargers. And it's the Green Bay Packers. That is my list for this week. Because remember, the list is fluid. And there we go.
Let's go. Get them, guys. Who wants it first? Bart, you up first?
I mean, Captain Obvious. I mean, where's terrific Tom? It's terrific Tom not playing the best quarterback out of all, and he's doing it despite all the injuries they have on the defensive side of the ball. The reigning Super Bowl champions. How dare you, Stephen A., disrespect Tom Brady? You're going to make one of his lists. You're going to make his Hall of Fame speech when he talk about how you disrespected him, how you disrespected Bruce Arians, and how bad.
He dropped
can be aqua all you want.
45
it was against the Miami Dolphins.
I don't care. 45 to 17.
They're like a bye week right now. The Dolphins are not themselves. They don't have anything right now.
And I'm so glad.
And Kyler Murray struggled against the 49ers. Without their starting quarterback, he struggled against Minnesota. We're talking about their 37-yard kick field goal. Come on, man. Minnesota, now you're going to throw Minnesota up there?
I'm just saying, they ain't horrible. You understand?
Bart,
he hit his head.
It's always his feelings. It's always his feelings. That's what's wrong with the damn list. It's always his feelings. Clearly, the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the NFL right now. The second best team is the Arizona Cardinals. The third best team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4 is the Cowboys. And 5 would be the Chargers.
Hold it. Time out. Pause for a second. Pause for 1 second. This ain't no, I'm glad you asked. I did not ask you for your list.
I'm trying to tell you why your list. I'm trying to tell you why your list is terrible.
Okay?
I'm trying to tell you why it's terrible. Yes,
What?
the order is terrible. First of all, the Green Bay Packers won against the Packers won because the kicker from Cincinnati missed a field goal. That's why they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and you got them 5. You got the Buffalo Bills. You got the Buffalo Bills that just beat Kansas City. We just saw Josh Allen go crazy, and you got them behind the Cowboys and the Cardinals. And that defense has 2 shutouts and only surrendered 20 points to the Kansas City.
Cardinals are undefeated.
Hold on.
And you've been raving about the Cowboys. What's the problem? I had the Cowboys 2 last week. I didn't move them from their position.
There's another one. Where's the Ravens? Did you see what Lamar Jackson
the Ravens
is
ain't
down 19 Monday night?
They're not there yet.
That defense.
All three of us are telling you they're not there yet.
The Ravens defense right now.
Guess what that means?
You're outvoted, Molly.
Nothing to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
When you
guys.
talk about the Ravens, you should put Lamar Jackson. But, boy, listen. Boy, do you remember the earlier conversation we had about the Cowboys? And Stephen A. talking about my credibility? No, they ain't the second best team in the NFL, Stephen A. Because I'm watching the games. They are not. They are.
I got a fifth.
You know I'm watching the game because you usually FaceTiming me when we watch the game.
I know.
So don't try that.
But you are trying to set America up for the Cowboys to fail. That's what you're doing, and I gotta let everybody know that that's what you're doing with this list.
No,
you're doing it.
No,
look at him, boy. Look at him, boy. Look at it.
I'm not doing that.
That's what he's doing.
All right, we're done. We're done. No Bucks, no Rams, no Ravens.
No, I wouldn't do that. Never that.
Never that. First take.
And by the way,
take
Molly,
a breath. Just marinate. The Bay Bucks have removed John Gruden from their Ring of Honor after he resigned Monday in the wake of a New York Times story that he used racist, anti-gay, and misogynistic language in emails over a 7-year period. Aaron Rodgers reacted to the Gruden fallout on the Pat McAfee show. That was yesterday. Take a listen.
Those opinions, don't have a place in the game, and it was surprising to see that thing went so quickly.
Yes,
but I think that was probably the best decision for all parties involved, and hopefully we can all, as a league, learn and grow from this, and hopefully it puts people on notice who have some of those same opinions. Like, hey, man, it's time to grow and evolve and change and connect, and that doesn't fly.
So well said by Aaron Rodgers. Completely co-sign on that. Marcus, tell me this. What changes need to happen in the NFL?
Real diversity and inclusion. Like, what are we talking about? We could do pamphlets and we could send out press releases and clips and we end racism in end zones and all of that. True diversity and inclusion. And let me explain to everybody why diversity and inclusion is important when it comes to minorities, when it comes to women, because it's voices. And when you're coming up with these ideas and when you want to see the game push forward, make it look more of like the world looks like. But that's not going to happen. And I'm sorry, I have to give this sobering reality. It's billionaires that's owners of these teams that don't want it to happen, right? They want it to happen on certain levels. And when you get pushed from us in media and people around the league talking about it, they make a move. When Kaepernick kneeled, he kneeled for the right reasons. And it should have been taken heed to immediately when it happened. But it wasn't what they wanted to do. When George Floyd happened, it was popular to jump on board and be forthright and be progressive and talk about the things that needed to change. Mm-hmm. And this is just another situation in the NFL or in a lot of parts of the world, country, businesses, things that are functioning in this country, where diversity and inclusion is a great thing to say. It looks good on your letterhead. It looks good when you send these messages out to the public. But if you're not really operating like that, you're going to have these situations. Now, I would hope that if it was diversity and inclusion for real, with decision makers and people within the construct of these leagues or businesses or whatever, that it would be voices that look at those things, or it would be a voice on the other end of those damn emails to say, hey, man, we don't do that around here. That ain't right. We don't condone that. That's why it's important to have different voices. That's why it's important to have people that don't look like you, talk like you, come from where you come from, share their ideas and opinions, whether you agree or disagree, and y'all try to figure out a way to find common ground and make this thing work for everybody. I want to shout out one guy in the NFL, Stephen A., and I'm done. Bruce Arians is real diversity and inclusion. That's the real look of what it's supposed to look like. And I don't know if it's Tampa Bay's organization, but it's happening in there, so I got to give them credit too. But when you see diversity and inclusion with a championship team and a franchise that really openly does that publicly, and a head coach that comes out and talks about that, I would hope that in the construct of Bruce Arians' staff, that if somebody said the things that John Gruden said or emailed the things that John Gruden emailed, that it would have been approached, taken care of, and the right process would have happened when it happened. Stephen A., go ahead.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I appreciate you saying that because I basically said that yesterday, and I love the fact that you brought up Bruce Arians because Todd Bowles, a black man, is his defensive coordinator, and Byron Leftwich, his offensive coordinator, is a black man as well. So I definitely appreciate where you're coming from with that. And I also want to give props to the Browns and the Miami Dolphins organization because two brothers are executives. They're GMs for those respective franchises. But when we ask the question, what changes does the NFL really need to make? I'm going to have to say it starts with Roger Goodell. He's going to have to step up. And here's the reason why. You are the commissioner. You are answerable to 32 NFL owners. I'm certainly not going to cast aspersions on him by calling him names or whatever. I happen to be very fond of Roger Goodell. Had the pleasure of actually meeting him for the first time on a football field, Monday Night Football at SoFi Stadium last week. But you got to step up. You got to show some guts because the Washington football team is the one that was being investigated. People are absolutely right to be in an uproar when they point out that the Washington football team was being investigated because of a story exposed by the Washington Post about what it's like to be a female, a woman working in Daniel Snyder's organization. Okay, first initial step was the NFL allowed Daniel Snyder to hire his own law firm, to hire a law firm to investigate him. Well, how that gonna work? All right, before it got bad PR and they stepped in. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two, Daniel Snyder, who I also have communicated with in the past. Okay, and for the most part, I don't like what I read in those stories over the last year. I don't like the things that I read and the things I heard were going on in the Washington football team. I know he hired a friend of mine, Julie Donaldson, that I've known for many years and stuff like that, and she's doing a fantastic job for them. But that was after the mess that existed in that cesspool of a culture that you had going on with the Washington football team. Daniel Snyder was fined $10 million. His franchise is worth over $4.2 billion. That's a penny. That's a traffic ticket. I think the Washington Post said that one time. It's a traffic ticket. Okay. And oh, by the way, he was allowed to step away so his wife could run it. Really? That's what we're doing now? That's what we're doing? I mean, the wife is running it. So she's making the decision. But your wife, so I assume that y'all are sharing a home and a bed together and all that stuff. So you don't communicate with her. We're going to talk about everything but the Washington football team. Who the hell do you think we are? We were born at night, not last night. I mean, come on. Ain't nobody falling for that. So the commissioner has allowed this to happen. And once again, you're either late to the party or you handling stuff wrong. We cannot sit here. As egregious, as reprehensible, and as disappointing as John Gruden's emails were. I will remind everybody, the only reason we found out about those emails was because of an investigation into the Washington football team because of the horrific culture that they had. That's why we found out. And the lawyers for those women that worked for the Washington football team is absolutely positively right when they say it's amazing to us and disgraceful and disappointing that with this investigation that spans months and has 655,000 pages of documents, that the person that we're focused on is John Gruden.
It's almost been a distraction. It's a distraction.
It's a distraction.
From their issue.
No, the focus needs to go right back to the Washington football team and Daniel Snyder and Roger Goodell, although he answers to them. He got to step up and handle that.
And you're right. And that's why the lawyers are doing that. It's 40 former employees who are asking for more transparency. So we'll see what happens there. We'll have much more on this as this continues, guys. Got to get a quick break here. Still to come on First Take. Week 6 is about to start, but we're asking the question, are the Chiefs done? Somebody says, wait for it. Plus, Dan Orlovsky tomorrow. Does the prank war continue, Stephen A?
No. I'm not. I don't want to mess with Dan on that. I don't want to mess with Dan.
He might want to mess with you.
He's got more time to put on pranks, not me.
Stephen A., I got your text message. What is the best play of my career? I ran, you're their co-host out the back of the end zone.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I told you.
Noted.